Hey guys, Gizmodic here, and this is the video that all of you have been waiting for. So today we are comparing the cameras between the Realme 1, the Redmi Note 5 Pro and the Asus Zenfone Max Pro. It's a very detailed camera test and the results are going to shock you, so please stick around till the end. First, let's talk about the numbers. The Note 5 Pro has a 12 plus 5 megapixel setup on the back and a 20 megapixel camera on the front. The Zenfone Max Pro has a 13 plus 5 megapixel camera on the back, whereas an 8 megapixel sensor on the front. Finally, the Realme 1 has a 13 megapixel camera on the back and an 8 megapixel camera on the front. It doesn't have a dual camera and it relies on artificial intelligence for portrait mode. Now let's take a look at the pictures. In daylight, the Zenfone Max Pro produces warmer images than the other two phones. It's more yellowish than the actual scene, plus even when you zoom in, the details are definitely less on the Zenfone Max Pro. The Realme and the Redmi on the other hand are very close to each other. However, if you look closely, the Realme 1 brings out the shadows and the highlights a lot better than the Note 5 Pro. Especially when you turn the HDR mode on, the Realme 1 produces some really nice and blue skies. It's a bit more blue than the actual scene, but then the overall image looks a lot better on the Realme 1. The Note 5 Pro has more natural and neutral colors, but dynamic range is overall better on the Realme 1. One thing that I noticed is that when you do turn on the HDR mode on the Realme 1, it loses out a bit on details when you zoom in, but otherwise it's as good as the Note 5 Pro. Realme 1 also has this vivid mode which punches the colors up a notch, and in some photos it actually does look really good. Overall, I think that Realme 1 does the best, which is closely followed by the Redmi Note 5 Pro and then the Zenfone Max Pro. Although when you talk about the portrait mode, it's a bit of a mixed result. The Note 5 Pro has the best edge detection, but then it clicks a zoomed in photo, which is okay, but the resolution is still 5 megapixel. Xiaomi hasn't fixed this bug and it's really annoying to have 5 megapixel portrait shots. The Realme 1 produces better colors and a more punchier image, but the edge detection is the poorest among the three phones. The Zenfone Max Pro lies somewhere in between. The edge detection is better than the Realme 1, but the overall photo is on the warmer side. Moving on to indoor scenarios, here the Realme 1 gets the colors right as compared to the Note 5 Pro and the Zenfone Max Pro. The Zenfone Max Pro exhibits a slightly poor dynamic range and the images are a bit washed out on it. It barely retains the details when you zoom into the photo. The Note 5 Pro produces impressive photos, but then, like I said, the colors were more accurate on the Realme 1. In some photos, the Realme 1 retains more details, whereas in some it was a tie, or the Note 5 Pro was better. So in terms of detailing, I would say that it's a tie, but the Realme 1 here has a slight advantage due to its better color reproduction. Finally, in very dimly lit conditions, the Realme and the Redmi are almost identical. Both of them do a better job than the Zenfone Max Pro, and here once again Realme 1 is slightly better than the Note 5 Pro. The Note 5 Pro has a bit of this bluish violet tint. I've seen this in almost every other Xiaomi phone. There was only one image where the Zenfone Max Pro with HDR on did a better job, but apart from that, the Realme 1 definitely leads the pack. Now let's come to selfies. All of these phones have a portrait mode, but the Redmi Note 5 Pro is spot on with the edge detection. The Realme 1 is once again last in terms of edge detection. You get a vivid mode for selfies too in the Realme 1, but overall the Note 5 Pro has the most superior front-facing camera because even in low light it's better than the other two phones. The Realme 1 is second and the Zenfone's is the worst because in indoor or the dimly lit scenarios it really takes poor selfies. Finally, let's talk about videos, and here the Zenfone Max Pro is the only phone that officially records 4K video. The Realme can only do 1080p and the Note 5 Pro officially can do Full HD, but with some third-party apps it can record 4K. However, the Note 5 Pro has electronic image stabilization, so the footage looks the best on it. It looks super smooth and it feels like the camera is just gliding in the scene. So the Note 5 Pro definitely takes the win here. So finally, if you talk about the photos, the Realme 1 is the clear winner here, which is closely followed by the Note 5 Pro, and the Zenfone Max Pro comes last. Honestly, I was really surprised by this because the Realme 1 costs like only 9,000 rupees and Oppo needs to be given credit for this. If they improve the portrait mode further with the updates, the Realme 1 is really gonna kill it with its camera game. Also, I did not compare Google Camera here because none of these phones support it out of the box. You need to be rooted to do it, and as of now there is no way to root the Realme 1. So the comparison would have been a little unfair. However, when there is a way to root the Realme 1, I'll try out Google Camera and then make another video. Anyways, that's all for this camera comparison. I hope you guys liked this detailed camera comparison, and if you did, then please like and comment. If you're new to the channel, then please hit the red subscribe button and also press the bell icon so that you don't miss out on my new videos. Anyways, for more behind the scenes content, you can go follow me on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back in your notifications really soon. Peace.